They all just have to come back over here.
Oh.
So, oh, I see. Okay, looky there. Now we're so fancy.
I know. Ooh, okay. Now this is working. Let's turn the volume on.
So, oh, I see. Okay, looky there. Now we're so fancy.
I know. Hello, everyone. Ooh, okay. Now this is working. Let's turn the volume on.
So, oh, I see. Okay, looky there. Now we're so fancy.
I know. Okay, everyone, let's rejoin us here in this new place as we are trying to figure out all of the intricacies of Facebook Live, because they changed it a lot from the last time I did it, so we are here now. So we're going to wait for everyone to join us, and hopefully we will see when you arrive. We're not gonna mess things up yet. So hoping everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Yay! We have somebody here.
Be with you from the comfort of your own home on this Thursday afternoon. We are so excited to introduce.
Yeah, you may want to turn off the Facebook Live because it's quite
a. What? I have so many windows. I was like, what's making noise now?
It's quite a thing. I'm going to copy this and put it in our event for you real quick, and then we will keep doing this. So, learning all the tech stuff. Okay. Great. All the text. We're starting to get folks back over here to our new link. So your first question, first of all, I just want to introduce all of you to our new Director of Lifespan Faith Development, Courtney McKenny. We have changed the title from Director of Religious Education. That is speaking in a lot of sense to what Courtney is going to be doing for us, and also the fact that she is full-time for us. So that is it's a typical title in Unitarian Universalist circles that refers to the fact that she will be interacting with children, youth, and adult education programming. And so we thought this title would be more appropriate to the work she's going to be doing with us. And also just, giving ourselves a fresh start with a new director in this position. And we are so excited to have you, Courtney. So welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Birmingham. And we are so glad you're here.
I am so excited to be here. And you can tell by the number of messages I've been getting from friends that they know that I'm starting this position, and everyone's like, are you excited? How's it going? I'm like, I'm not quite there yet, but apparently I've been talking about it for a while.
Yes. Well, Courtney has apparently wanted this position for a long time, and just schedules never quite were in sync. So we are so glad that you will be joining us in this position. So I'm trying to look for questions, but feel free to submit your questions and I will make sure that they are passed on to Courtney. The first question for her was based on her biography that we sent out over email. So if you haven't checked your email, there is a brief biography of Courtney for you to read. And the first question was, what is Orange Theory Fitness? Would you like to tell us about that?
Absolutely. Orange Theory Fitness, it's a gym, but it's a 1 hour full body workout. And I've been doing it for 6 years. It's the one and only fitness thing I've been able to stick with for a long time. It's a group setting, but it's a full body, high intensity workout. And I've spent 6 years as a member. And then the last 2.5 years, I've been not serving. I've been working with them as a fitness specialist. It's kind of funny. I do refer to it sort of as a ministry, kind of. I'm like, it's like a fitness ministry. So it's like the same thing. I'm sharing the joy of fitness with people, kind of like sharing the joy of Unitarian Universalism, right? It's a stretch, but it's been great for me. It's a lot of fun. And it's my me time. I spend an hour a day focused on the inside stuff. So it's good. I love it.
That's wonderful. I'm so glad to hear it. So I have some other questions for you. My son, Stark Flores, who is 7 for the context of the question.
Love it already.
Know if you play any video games.
Oh my goodness. So here is I play video games badly. So we'll go with that. I love to play video games. I'm not very good at it. My daughters, all 3 of my kids play Minecraft together. And so they've tried to get me to do that. And I've learned that I'm really not very good at it. But I have fun. Like I enjoy it. And I love to watch video games. Like ever since I was in college, I used to love watching my friends play video games. So there's something about it. I just apparently am not very good at figuring it out. I just like to cheer people on. So I will happily hang out with him as he plays video games, and he can tell me what he's doing because I won't understand.
Well, for those who have had conversations with Stark about video games, you must know that it is a very in-depth conversation.
I am used to that. My youngest will talk constantly about Animal Crossing and or Minecraft or anything Marvel related forever.
Yes.
So.
Well, your youngest will bond with my child, who is named after Iron Man himself. So
I can't wait to tell them. They're going to be very excited.
So, and my other son is named after another video game, but it's a lot more violent, so he can't play it yet. Wonderful, wonderful. So what are you looking forward to most in coming to the UU Church of Birmingham?
Well, like you mentioned earlier, I have loved this congregation for years. I shadowed Jessica York 15 years ago when I first started out as a DRE, and was like, this is an amazing congregation. And I've visited the congregation through the years, gone to services, just kind of like sneak in ninja way to like not be at work, but be able to go to service. And I've always loved the congregation. So I'm really looking forward to becoming a part of that community because I feel like you all have a very deep history. You have an amazing program. Like there's just so much there that I'm looking forward to being a part of. And I've missed so much over the last 5 years. So I'm really looking forward to getting back into like the thick of it, the nitty gritty. I'm so excited I can't wait to get up and do Time for All Ages again. Like, yeah, y'all, I'm a lot. I'm kind of an extrovert. So I'm super looking forward to that. My girls have already started like, well, you could do this story again. So they're like, they don't know you do this story. So yeah, lots of things. I don't know. I'm looking forward to all of it. I can't wait to meet everyone. I can't wait to meet the kids. I can't wait to meet the youth. I can't wait to meet the elders. I'm really excited to be a part of the community.
Wonderful. Yes, Jess and Donna are here commenting. Thank you all. Glad you're here. If you have any questions for Courtney, please feel free to ask them again because I can't see the other Facebook Live thread. There's enough going on my screen at the moment. So feel free to ask your questions again. One of the things that I know our committee that met with you was so excited about is the fact that you have teenagers. Mm-hmm. And that you were raised as a Unitarian Universalist, so you know what UU youth group is supposed to look like. So I was just wondering if you had any thoughts for what your hopes were for our youth group as it continues to bond and coalesce and grow.
Well, as a lifelong UU and as someone who has worked with children and youth for years, I feel like that it is so important that we spend a good amount of energy on these children and youth coming up through our programs, because they're the future. Like, they're who are going to be doing Unitarian Universalism when we're not here anymore. So I'm really excited to get back in with youth. And I think there's so much going on in our state, in our communities, in our country, that they can be an active part in. And I'm just really looking forward to doing a lot of great social justice work with them, doing some deep faith development with them, and giving them the chance to kind of really delve deeper into those things that they don't necessarily check out outside in school or with their friends, getting them to look a little deeper at things that can be really important to them. They just haven't discovered them yet. And I have 2 teenage girls who are very excited to get involved in youth group stuff. So
yes. And we're so excited. Courtney and her girls will be coming to our retreat at the mountain, August 27th through 29th. It is still not too late to register, but the due date is approaching for you to finalize that. I don't have that off the top of my head, but if you are interested in coming to the mountain, please join us there. We have, at last count, over 70 people joining us at the mountain for our church retreat that will be very COVID safe and a lot of outdoor time, and will be gorgeous and away from the heat of Alabama in August. So that will be a great joy. As part of that youth conversation, I know I was not raised UU. I was raised United Methodist. So I have a very strong youth group understanding, but there's some things that, still have to be translated for me. And one of the questions that I know our youth have heard about and want to participate somehow in is a youth con. Can you tell us what a youth con is and what goes on there?
Well, I've participated in a couple different capacities. When I was in high school, yes, they have been around that long. We would attend youth cons, and it was just kind of an opportunity to meet other UUs, other teens that weren't necessarily in your bubble. You're able to meet from other congregations. As a DRE, we had youth participate in cons. And then honestly, when we shifted from districts to regions, things kind of didn't seem to be gelling quite as well with youth cons. So I'm really excited to see them pick back up and start happening again, because we have a great amount of youth in the Southern region that can participate in things. It's just going to take a little more doing. And I feel like Birmingham is so ideally located to do things like hosting a con and having youth come in from across Alabama, from Atlanta, from Mississippi, have them come in from different areas, Nashville, and get together and have an opportunity to, just have worship, to fellowship, to do all sorts of great things together, just based on their youth programming. It's just a great opportunity for them to bond and make those connections outside of the congregation. So we're gonna have to get on that. And we've got a perfect building for it.
Yes. So I can't wait to work on those details with you, because I know that our youth are really engaged and enthusiastic. And yet it's been so long since we've had someone to model those kinds of traditional UU activities for us. And so I'm really thrilled that you're gonna be here and you already know what it looks like. And I can be a support system and not have to reinvent the wheel. That's really exciting. And our youth are also really into social justice, like you mentioned earlier. One of our youth actually led the youth-led climate strike. Was it pre-pandemic? Whenever it was. One of our youth, Stella, did that, and it was incredible. And she organized the whole thing, and awesome. Breathtaking, hundreds of people there to talk about the climate. So really, really important work there. I know you're going to love our youth. Jess is asking, what are the ages of your girls again? Okay, Jess, I actually have 3 children. My oldest is 18,
He's almost 19. He'll be 19 in September. He recently moved to Kansas City. So he is living with his family in Kansas City. He decided to spread his wings, so to speak, when he graduated high school. So he is off in the bigger world for the time being. I imagine he'll be back at some point. And that's totally fine. And then I have a 16-year-old daughter who is getting ready to start her junior year of high school. And I have a 14-year-old daughter who is getting ready to start her freshman year of high school. So
Wonderful, wonderful. And I know that they are thrilled to be a part of a community again.
so excited. I've had to explain to them they really don't have to come with me this coming Sunday. I'm like, you can calm down. It's okay.
Bring your daughters to work day.
It's gonna be bring my daughters all the way.
Yeah. Speaking of this Sunday, and I'll mention this again at the end of our time talking, but if you want to meet Courtney or your kids want to introduce your kids to Courtney, she will be here this Sunday for RE time at 11 a.m. at the church. So our church continues through this time to meet outdoors in our outdoor classroom as we learn religious education and all those wonderful things. And she will be here starting this Sunday to meet your kids. Amethyst will be on board to do the programming piece, and that will be wonderful. And Courtney will just kind of be there to, you know, start her official first day of work right off the bat with your children and youth. So if you have been waffling, or if you will be in town, please do take the opportunity to come the next couple of weeks and meet Courtney before our RE year begins. So we have a lot of exciting things planned for RE in the whatever this is time. And so you'll be starting to hear those things rolled out as well, but we are excited about that. Other questions from those on Facebook? I'm still watching for those, and in the meantime I will ask another that I had. Let's see here. Why don't you just tell us about yourself and kind of your UU journey and whatever else you'd like to throw into that.
So I grew up in a small congregation in Southwest Missouri, First Unitarian Universalist Church of Springfield. I always thought it was funny because they're also the only Unitarian Universalist church in Springfield. Springfield is the hometown of John Ashcroft and has more Bible colleges than any other kind of colleges. It's a very there's a lot of, I can't even think of the word I'm looking for. There's not a lot of religious diversity in Springfield. Let's put it that way. It's very homogenous. So grew up there, went to college in Northeast Missouri at Truman State University, and after college moved to Kansas City. In Kansas City, I started back to church at the All Souls in Kansas City. That was a large congregation. It was great. I really enjoyed it. And then after meeting my husband and having my son, we ended up moving to Alabama. And one of my prerequisites for moving to Alabama was there had to be a UU fellowship or UU congregation, because I was a little nervous because I am not a Southerner. So, and we jumped right in to the UU church in Montgomery. I think I'd been there 2 weeks before I became the RE committee chair. They're like, you have kids here too. So jumped right into that. Was a member there starting in 2001, I believe. I think is when we started, or 2002. It was 2002 when we moved here. So I came on board with that congregation in 2006 as their director of religious education, and served them until January of 2017. Gosh, dates are all blurring together. So
Quick time.
right, it's just like shoo. During that time, I served the Liberal Religious Educators Association as the chapter president for the Southeast region for a few years. I was the committee chair for the RE committee on the Mid-South region Mid-South district before we went to regions. Backtrack. And then towards the end, I joined the appointments committee at the UUA, and the appointments committee is much like a nominating committee on a congregational level, except it focuses directly with appointments that are made by the UUA board. So we help them find the people to appoint to committees for the board. And then the nominating committee for the UUA does the elected positions. And I've been serving on that committee since 2016, I believe. So, and I'm getting ready to phase over to the nominating committee as a cross-pollination, like we like to do. So it's great work. It's kept me really connected to the faith on a larger level. It's really interesting to see how things work on a denominational level, on a continental level. It's really strange how they work very similarly to congregational levels. It's just a bigger congregation. So yeah, it's great work. I love it. And I'm so excited to be back in a congregation. So
yeah, wonderful. Well, that is part of what your appeal to our congregation was, in a sense of also having all those connections to the wider UU faith. It benefits our congregation to be more informed about what's going on in the wider UU world. And so it's great that you already have those connections and colleagues available and all of those wonderful things. So we are thrilled for that. So another question, and this is something that, you know, we keep talking about with the parents in the RE program, especially, and that is what do you hope a child or a youth who graduates from our program feels after graduating? What do you hope that they take into the world with them after they've been through our program?
I hope that they take away a deeper love of Unitarian Universalism and continue on with the faith as adults. I hope that they feel loved and supported by our congregation and know that we're always here for them to support them, even as they go out into the world. I know that I have been in contact with my minister from when I was a child since becoming a religious professional. And he's no longer a minister, but still it was, you know, so I hope that our children and youth still feel like they can reach back out to me and other members of the congregation as a connection to Unitarian Universalism. So I think the biggest thing is I want them to leave with a deeper connection to Unitarian Universalism.
Fabulous. We concur and agree. For a lot of us, especially converts, you know, it took us a long time to get to the point of finding this faith that so eloquently summarized how we believe and how we want to interact in the world. And so passing it on to our children is a really important thing. Not that we're going to, you know, forcibly coerce them to do so, but, you know, we want to have the building blocks and the foundation to say, you know, this faith grows and evolves with you, regardless of where you go in the world, what you decide to believe. You can always be Unitarian Universalist because we are a non-creedal faith. So that's really important. What is your favorite thing about being Unitarian Universalist?
Trying to explain to people what it is.
Yeah.
I actually do enjoy that. You'd think after all these years I'd have like a really great elevator speech, and I don't. I rattle on for a while. You know, I think part of what you just said is what's my favorite thing is that you can be a Unitarian Universalist and like it's not a limiting faith. It's not something that limits who you are. It adds to who you can be. So, and I love that. I love that I don't ever feel anything but my authentic self when I'm a part of a congregation or a part of any, you know, larger denominational event. So yeah, I think those are my favorite things, that like it gives you the opportunity to really continue to be who you really are.
I love it. We have another question from Jess. She says, I'm curious about Montgomery. What is that congregation like? How big? How many families, kids? What are the similarities and differences with Birmingham? So how do you feel Montgomery prepared you for this position? And, also how does it compare? Or do you know?
I'm not currently involved in the congregation. So when I left the congregation, it's always been a smaller congregation than Birmingham. Birmingham's always been the big the big one. But I personally felt that our religious education program was the most vibrant part of the congregation, but I'm kind of biased. In a congregation of anywhere from 80 to 100 people, I would have 30 to 35 to 30 to 40 children and youth. Mm-hmm. So we had a substantial number of kids, even though the congregation wasn't all that large. And so I feel like it prepared me because I kind of had to be like everything. Like you had to, and that was what was interesting in the interview process and talking to the committee and everything that was some of the questions they were asking me was what did I feel about stepping into a larger congregation role? I'm like, well, I did that. Like I handled adult religious education. I did the time for all ages. I supervised the child care workers. So like, even though it was a smaller congregation, I feel like I had a lot of responsibilities that probably were different than what you would see in most small congregations. A part of also being in a congregation for 10 years, like I was just part of the institutional knowledge at that point. So I feel like it all just prepared me for this. I've been waiting for this, just waiting for it. Mm-hmm. You are the congregation I've been waiting for.
We are so thrilled to have you. Grant posted, and I should be talking about children as well, but everybody here so far has kids that's posting or is involved in the program. Grant posts, I think it is important for youth to learn to explore and define their beliefs, spiritual, intellectual, social, environmental, and learn how to use their hands and voices to support and express those beliefs.
Love that.
We agree and concur, Grant. Very important. So we're looking at, we'll definitely be doing OWL in the spring, Our Whole Lives, which is our comprehensive sex education for children and youth. And we hope that any of you watching who have young kids or interact with young kids will be certain to enroll them in that, because it is so important that our children not only have the basic knowledge about how their bodies work, but also have an opportunity to talk about consent and healthy relationships and, the changes of our bodies over time. And also, and this is a part that I'm going to speak in a sermon about later, but also how important it is that our children and youth have trusted adults other than their parents to ask questions to. It's really, really important. My son just joined Scouts, and one of the first exercises he has to do is to list 5 trusted adults, people that he could talk to about anything, and make sure that happens. And 5 adults is more than most parent situations. And so how do we fill in that gap and make sure that there are other trusted adults around? And I think that's an important part of our program as well, and an important part of how we incorporate the adults in the congregation who don't have children and youth right now. How do we incorporate them into our program as well? Mm-hmm. So let's speak to them for just a moment. Courtney, what has your experience been doing adult ed? What are you looking forward to doing with that age group in our church?
I'm kind of interested to hear about what you all have been previously doing. There's so many options available because there's so many amazing curriculums available via the UUA. There's just all sorts of different ways you can go in more in depth in things. But you can also discuss current events. Like there's just so many different options. And I'm looking forward to kind of feeling out what everyone's interested in doing, finding out where the interests lie, whether we want what kind of different things we want to do, because I don't feel like we need to do one or the other. Like, I think it can be a little bit of everything. So plus it gives me a great opportunity to interact with adults. Something I have discovered was the number of times people would come up to me and they'd be like, you look so familiar. And I'm like, because I'm so used to being with the children and the youth that like adults would see me doing Time for All Ages and I would have no idea that, yeah. So it gives me an opportunity to interact with people that I don't necessarily get to interact with as much. So I'm looking forward to that as well. There's just so many great options. And it gives us a chance to go a little deeper too. It gives us a chance to be more active participants in it, not just receiving information, but like back and forth. So it's good for us.
Agreed. I think the UUA adult curriculums are really fantastic, and there's other things out there as well. So I'll be sure to apprise you of all that when we get to that. But, any other questions from our viewing gallery? We're so glad you're all here, and we're going to post this on YouTube after we finish so that those without Facebook can also see Courtney's face and hear this conversation and get to know her a little bit better too. So any other questions, comments, happy thoughts? Just waiting for a moment to see.
Maybe random facts. I was born in Canada. There's a nice random fact.
Facts. That's a great one. Born in Canada.
Born in Canada, St. John's, Newfoundland. Yep.
Yeah.
My parents were in the Navy.
Okay. Both of them?
Both of them. My mom outranked my dad. She was also a drill sergeant, if that gives you some insight into my childhood.
You have lessened that bond very well.
Right.
Never
Right.
would have guessed.
Yeah. So I am the oldest child. Well, let's see. My mother was the first active duty seaman to have a child while staying active. So I'm the oldest. I don't know. Whatever that would mean. I'm a history item right here. This is history.
Yeah. Wow. That does sound like your mother was breaking barriers all over the place.
Something. I have 3 dogs. What else do we want to know?
The dog people definitely want to know about the dogs. So tell us.
I love cats. I have daughters that are allergic to cats. So it's not that I don't like cats, because I do love cats. We have dogs.
Yeah. And what kind of dogs are they, and what are their names?
All of ours are rescue. We have Maggie, who is a Clumber Spaniel. Clumber Spaniel. We have Daisy, who is kind of a shepherdy mutt. And then we have Rufus, who is kind of a terrier pit bull mutt. And if you're hearing weird crunching noises in the background, that's him. It keeps him from barking at the cats when they walk by outside.
Wonderful. Well, glad to hear about your puppies as well.
Mm-hmm.
So John says it's good to meet you. Jess says welcome. We're so excited to have you here. And Grant says, oh, Canada.
Okay. I should probably learn that. We moved when I was 3, so it's not, I didn't spend much. My parents wouldn't let me watch Sesame Street because they didn't want me to learn to say Zed. I know, strange things.
All right. Sesame Street was an important part of my childhood.
All right, yeah.
Especially the Cookie Monster. Yeah, and my kids getting into that too. Grant has another question. Being in Montgomery, will you be commuting daily, or how many days a week will you be in Birmingham? And I'm going to answer that for you in the sense that we are still figuring that out. But, pre-pandemic, I would have been really concerned about hiring, a long distance person for our program. In the middle of the pandemic and post-pandemic, I think we can make it work. So what we have committed with Courtney is that all events for children and youth are in person, because we have learned through the pandemic, our kids can't handle any more screen time. Mm-hmm. So, that being said, when Courtney figures out where everything's happening, she will be live for all of those things. And then other things, she will work out as it is. But she assures me that the commute is not that bad.
I was just in Birmingham on Tuesday.
She just comes up here for fun. So now she's going to come up here for a reason.
I get to have fun and fun. There we go.
Yes. And that the major point of that right now is that her daughters want to finish high school, which makes sense. So, that is a temporary thing as well. So we'll figure that out as it goes. But for now, it will work great.
They're already plotting a move, just so you all know.
Yes. So I didn't want to promise that, but
yeah, I can't promise anything, but they literally are like, we could do this. I was like, oh my goodness, you two stop.
one of the daughters is really excited about Alabama School for the Fine Arts or something.
Correct. She is an artiste. Actually, none of her work is behind me. That's the other kids.
Yeah. That's all your children's work behind you?
This one is.
Oh wow.
That's Rufus. This one is an abstract one they did. Oh, actually, that one is one. No, nothing else. No, the others are in my room. She's working on a piece for me to take to the office there, so you will get to see.
Oh my goodness, I can't wait.
Yeah,
that would be amazing. So again, thank you for your time, all of you who are watching. I know that we've had some other folks join in, so if you do have some final questions, I'll talk for a moment so you can ask your questions if you'd like. But just as reminders to everyone, you can start meeting Courtney this Sunday at 11 a.m. at our religious education program outside at the church, and subsequent Sundays. It's not just this one, but this is a good one to start. Starting August 15th is when we're ramping up our religious education programming for the year. So definitely have on your calendar to start planning to be at church by the 15th, so that we're going to do our backpack blessing and also our little gifts to signify our children as they transition to the next grade or next phase of life. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we also still need some RE teachers. Amethyst has been working really hard on that, but if you are feeling called to do that, we are especially in need of a couple more folks. So please consider signing up for that.
Everyone has gifts we need.
Yes. And also August 27th through the 29th is our all church retreat at the Mountain in Highlands, North Carolina. Courtney, have you been to the Mountain?
I love the Mountain so much, and I have not been in 5 years. So I'm so thrilled to see you all at the Mountain.
So what is your favorite part of the Mountain?
Meditation Rock, the Labyrinth, cabin, there's a cabin halfway down the hill I really like that has a great view. Ooh, the fire pit is really great because really amazing s'mores. The deck in the morning when the fog rolls in, oh, that could go on. I have so many pictures.
I love how I asked for one favorite and she said 5. It is an
overachiever.
Magical place. And for those of you that have never been there before, I have been there 3 times, and I did not know until after this 3rd time that there is actually a lake at the Mountain. So if you want to bring your swimsuits, they do have life preservers and kayaks, and you can swim in the lake or kayak. I didn't know this. So that's how big the Mountain is. That is all UU space. There are all these little hidden nooks and things that you can find to explore. So we're going to have some programming, but it's also going to just be exploring and getting to see each other again as well. So everybody's commenting and excited. And Jess is excited for the retreat. She didn't know all that. There's so many things. One of my favorite things is the 1,000-year-old lichen that is growing on 2 of the rocks there. Really cool. I love the sciencey specimen stuff. But it is just a beautiful place. And just to be surrounded at a campground that has, chalices everywhere and just our space. It's just so lovely that we don't have to adapt, that it is, just our space. There's recycling stuff everywhere, and there's the food is incredible because they have their own farm, the Many Hands Peace Farm, that they grow and have eggs for a lot of the stuff that they make for us. So a lot of it is just really, really fresh and yummy. So can't wait for that as well. My children love the Mountain. Ezio's favorite part of the Mountain is the tetherball court. He wants to go play tetherball at the Mountain again. He's 2. but very athletic. And Stark just loves being in that space as well. So it's a wonderful time. Well, we hope to see you all Sunday to meet Courtney in person. We will have some kind of formal welcome party when we get to that point, but we are still figuring out some things. But for now, we're just going to do a little soft open and just get to know her and introduce your kids to her and things like that. So we're so excited to have you, Courtney. Thank you so much. It will be a joy to have you. So if you have further questions, feel free to send them my way and I will let Courtney answer them later. So thank you all for being here.